Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Cookie Game Studios. I really hope you had an awesome holiday with your family and eat a lot. So today we're just going to keep on going with Unreal Engine. I was going to talk a little bit about theory, but I do understand how boring that topic might be for most of you. So today I will try to do something interactive and something that we can actually have some fun and our hands dirty with Unreal Engine. I will try to do a little bit about of geometry. So geometry many years ago was actually used to create video games. That was how basically the structures and anything in the game was developed. Nowadays we have other options which are more feasible. Those are Blender and basically 3D modeling software. But still, using geometry in your game is actually quite important, and it actually allows you to create some sort of a workflow, and it actually gives you some sort of a visual architecture. Uh, so it's still very important, but the end content it's basically come from another source. Still knowing the basics when it comes to geometry and things you can do with it, it's really important. And so I'll be talking a little bit about it. And what we have right here is a picture of an extremely basic house. This is something we can actually recreate in Unreal Engine, and we can actually provide very good looking features, in this case assets. And so we're just going to open Unreal Engine. I already have it right here, and again we're just going to choose third person. Again, we can call this maybe small house, I guess. Let's see. Now I already have that one. I'm just going to call this um, oh, whatever. I'm just gonna go with small house project. There we go. So we're just going to create. Okay, let's see. So waiting for the game to actually open up. So I'm just going to change my layout a little bit. I want to have I want to be able to have more space in my second monitor. Okay, so here I have Unreal. Just gonna put it right here. And again, we already covered much of this in our last video. So what we're going to do here to keep practicing, it's we're gonna go in this folder, maps, and we're going to click on an empty space and right click, level, and we're going to create a new map. We're going to call this maybe practice map, I guess. Practice map. And again, this is completely unnecessary because we already have a map, but the thing is I want us to be able to practice all the things that we are learning and that we keep learning, so we can actually keep using everything we learn along the way. So now we need to save it. Save selected. Okay, so again we are on an empty space. So what we're going to do is on the search bar we're going to look for sky sphere, and we are going to add it into the viewport. Okay, now we have the sun and we have an atmosphere, and we're going to head back into the landscape tab. We're going to create a landscape, but we don't need this 7 by 4. I think it should be fine. Let's see. 7 by 4. I think this is quite okay. Let's see. Create. Let's go back into the place, tab, search, and we're gonna type directional light. We're going to drag it into the viewport, and In the world outliner, we're gonna click on the sky sphere blueprint, and then we're going into the details panel, and we're going to choose this option, the one that says directional light actor, and we're going to bind it to our directional light. So basically, I already talked about this a little bit in our last video, but what we're doing here is we're binding two elements together. So whenever we move our directional light, the sun sphere, it's just going to update along with it. so um, so I want to have this, let's see, blueprint right here. Let's just left click, and you don't have to do this, but I do have OCD, so yeah. I'm just gonna put this down here, directional light. I'm just gonna move this some. Okay, there we go. Okay, now I'm just gonna move it up. I really don't think our landscape is actually perfect. Let's see. I think it is perfectly aligned. No, it isn't. Front. There we go. Again, you don't have to do this. I do it because I have a lot of issues with my OCD, so I like my project and everything to be perfectly placed. Okay, so this should be okay. We can actually drag this down a little bit so it doesn't interfere with anything. And we can just, okay, there we go. And in here we can just create a new folder and call this environment assets maybe. And then we control click on everything and we drag it into the folder. Okay, now everything looks quite organized. Okay, so we already have that. We're just gonna save all level. Damn, there we go. Okay, so now we really want to start working in our house or whatever it is that we're doing. So if we take a look back at the picture, let's see. So we can start by adding a basic floor here. So we can just hit, let me hit play a little bit. So yeah, this is actually perfect. So I can just start somewhere around here, and I can just delete and look for geometry in a box. So we can have a box. I will just start by creating the steps. This is something that does not need to be like extremely big. So let's see. Let me just have snapping. Okay, perfect. Drag this up, and this, how about 10? 10 is a little, I think this is actually too small. Let's say 20. Is 20 okay? I think it is. I mean, let's see. It's ridiculously long on the back. So we can just go and change the y-axis to something like maybe 20. Let's see how 20 looks. No, 20 is actually extremely small, so I can just go with maybe 50. Yeah, 50 is okay. Let's see. And 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 we're just gonna hit play, and it's actually quite okay. It is okay. I mean, what else can you ask for, right? Okay, so now um so what we're going to do here is I will create uh, basically I want to turn the like the entrance into some sort of a static mesh. um so I can just click on the box, press alt, and then drag this up, and what this is going to do is just going to create a copy. And I actually like the size right now, so you can just let's see. I can just set this to maybe 100. 100 is actually quite okay, but I want this to be, let's see, 120. It's actually looking way better. Okay, so let's move this back a little bit, and maybe let's see if I can just, no, that's not actually what I want. This, and so I want to place this in a very particular position. So what we're going to do here is we're going to change the perspective to maybe left. Let's see. Okay, and so we're going into left position. Okay, this is what I wanted to do. I want to be able to place this like this to create some sort of a stairs or steps in this case. Let's see if I move it right there and I go back into, that is actually quite okay. So if I go back into perspective and I hit play, this is what I have. I have some sort of a some sort of an entrance of steps, or however you want to call it. And now what we can do is we can just so we can just play some sort of a, let's see, maybe, yeah, that is exactly what we will do. We will just create another copy again. Just press Alt and drag the arrow. But in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to set this to 20, and maybe by 20, I said 20, not 2. There we go. And now we are going to change our perspective. First, we're going to hit end. This is not going to work. Okay, end. And we're going to change the perspective back to left, and let's go right. Okay, perfect. Okay, now how does it looks from the front? That's exactly what I'm looking for. Okay, so if I go back into perspective, this is supposed to be perfectly aligned right now. And again, if we just press Alt and then click on the arrow and drag it all the way down here, we will have another copy, which is also going to be perfectly aligned. If I go into the back perspective, we can actually see it. Everything's perfectly aligned. And if we go back into perspective, you see that we already have something going on. I know it looks like extremely simple, I guess, but you know, this is geometry, and it's basically for giving you an idea of how your game and anything in it's going to look. So now we can do the following thing, and this is one of the most amazing things about Unreal Engine. We can go back into content, and we can just create a new folder, and we can call this custom assets. No, you know what? I'm just going to call this custom static matches. And you can just, you know, if you feel like it, you can change the color by right-clicking on it. Show set color, and we can just set this to red for no random reason whatsoever. We can just click on it, and in here we're just going to save our new static meshes. So what we're going to do here is we're going into the world outliner. We're going to click control, and we're going to click all the bushes, I mean all the boxes, sorry. And in the details panel, we are going to click on this tab right here, and we're gonna click on create static mesh, and we're gonna save it inside the custom static meshes, and we are going to call this, let's see, we can just call this maybe entrance, I guess. Entrance static mesh. so now, so basically this is what it's going to happen. So you have already created a static mesh, and as you can see, you don't have the boxes anymore. And that's because we turned a few elements into a single one. And this is a very fascinating way of actually making a good use of your resources. And performance wise, this is actually extremely, a very efficient way of creating your project. So now that I realize something, let me verify something really, really quick, 'cause I think I actually messed this up. Yep. Rename. Sorry about this. This is actually quite embarrassing. There we go. So custom static meshes, set color existing. There we go. And now we're just going to save this, and so we can just click on our new mesh, and as you can see, this is how your mesh is going to look. Again, I do realize that this is extremely simple, but it's to give you an idea. But you can do awesome things in here. I mean, if you like if you were to put textures to this thing, and you were doing it in the viewport, you will have to go like piece by piece. In this case, since we have actually turned this into a static mesh, we can just hit on the material, and we can just give it something. Let's say rock basalt, if you like that rocky mountain feeling. So now if you look at it, it looks sort of better. It doesn't look, so simple and basic anymore. But since we're doing some sort of a rustic environment, we need to go with something that is actually like wood or something like that. So in this case, let's see. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't actually see these. Oh my God, that was so. I'm sorry about this. So, anyways, let me close this really quick and open it again, so you can actually have a glimpse of what is going on. So, if you double click on your new static mesh, you're going to be able to see this new window. And if I remove, so this is actually how it looks. Very simple, extremely lame, but you're gonna actually click on the tab in the material tab, and you can just add new things. In this case, like textures or something. Um, so let's see. Since we are working with a rustic environment, let's see what actually do we have here. Oh, that actually looks extremely amazing, if you ask me. So let's see. Yeah, I can actually, well, actually like that one. So in here, you're going to notice something, and this is, I want you guys to be able to see it by yourself. So if I play my game and I try to like, it's just gonna go through it, and that's because whenever you turn some sort of geometry into a static mesh, it's not going to have any collisions. So we have to go back into we gotta go back into this tab right here that says collision, and we're going to add box simplify collision. Basically, what is going to happen is that the game is going to provide us with a collision. You can actually tweak around with this to actually achieve exactly what you're looking for. And there are like many options right here. So I'm just going to remove all the unnecessary collisions. Hold on. Remove collision, and okay, so there are like many types of collisions that you can choose from. And again, there is not a single way of actually doing this. It's just something, whatever meets your needs. And simplify collision. So yeah, whatever. So I'm just going to remove collision and add box simplified, save. We're just gonna hit the X, and now whenever we play our game, you're going to realize that now you can actually climb um, on your entrance. So we're just going to end the simulation right here, and we're gonna keep walking working in our project. So what we're going to do here is I'm just going to create a new project folder. Oh my god, I'm sorry. And I'm going to call this house assets. Assets. So having your project organized actually helps in many ways. One of them being that if you have people that are going to be working with you at some point, you don't have to be explaining everything to them. They will just be able to get an idea of what is going on by looking at how things are organized, and if you have some sort of documentation, it's going to be extremely easier for them. So we can actually just click on this and drop it in here. Okay, okay. So now, what else do we need from? What else do we need from? So now we need a floor. We need a floor, and so for a floor, we can just grab a cube. One more thing. Sometimes, whenever we're working with our project, things they just tend to move, because we accidentally click on something. So, in order to avoid that, what we're going to do is we're going to click on the landscape, right click, transform, and we're going to lock the actor movement. The same thing can be done for, since we're not going to be moving this for now, we can just click on it, right click, transform, and lock. Okay, so now if we try to move it, we will not be able to. So let's just grab a box and we're gonna put it on the map, and let's see. So this is how much this is. We have this is to do. Let's see this. So yeah, I forgot to write down the numbers, but I think this was something like 20, I guess. Let's see. Was this 20? I don't remember. 20, which I think it was. But that's actually simple. We could just end perspective, left. We're just going to drag this here. Okay, so this was actually 40. I mean, we need a 40. We can just click on it, press end. We're going to drag it here. Okay, so now we change back into perspective. And okay, so this is what we have right now. Okay, let's take a look at our picture again. Okay, so we can actually have something, I think 1000 should work. Let's see. So we're going to scale this on the x-axis, let's say 1000, and let's see the picture again. This does not need to be perfect, of course. Um, yeah, I think that is actually fine. We're not looking for anything like extremely precise here. So yeah, I'm just gonna go with that 1000 actually. But now we also need to scale this thing in the y-axis. So we're gonna go with let's take a look at the picture again. Maybe 1000 as well. Let's see. I think that is actually a little bit big. Nah, I think that is actually fine. So again, perspective. In this case, I'm just gonna go from the top. Oh wow, I actually nailed it. Let's see. Yep, perfectly placed. So perspective, and just in case that anything is out of position, we're just going to drag it up and end, and then it's going to be perfectly snapped back into the landscape. And we're just going to call this, let's see, we can just call this, I think I will be turning this into a static mesh, I don't know, but for now I'm just going to call this floor. And let's save our project. Let's take a look at the picture again. So we can just, okay, how about we, let's see. Yeah, I think we can just drag this up and set this thing to, no, actually, this one is actually fine. This is the one we need to set to 100. And yeah, still extremely big, so we're gonna set it 20. And I'm just going to pull this a little bit here, and maybe we're going to set this to 1000. No, I mean 100. But that is actually quite, let's see. I'm just gonna play this a little really quick. No, this is actually, so I think we gotta go like something like 300 maybe. Let's see. End, play. I think that should be okay. Well, since it doesn't have to be like extremely perfect, let me hit on the light a little bit. There we go. I can actually see what I'm doing. Perspective, top, click on this, and voila. Perspective, and there we go. Perfect wall. Okay, so now, what are we going to do now? We're just going to... So now what we're going to do is we're going to right click, I mean Alt again, click on the arrow and just drag a new copy, and you can press shift at the same time, and basically what you're going to do is you're going to be moving the camera along with you. Perspective, top. If you guys think that I'm going too fast over the things I'm doing, you can just, let me know in the comment section, and I will be more paused about what I'm doing. Perspective. Okay, so now, as you can see, this is actually making some sense. Now we need, um, so now we need let's see. This is basically the same thing. Just grab it, press Alt, grab it, create a copy, and it's basically the same thing. In here we had, let's see, this is 20 on Y, and in here we need 20 but on X, right? Let's see, 20, and it's 1000. I think this should be, let's see if I'm actually right, 980? No, 960 it was. Let's see if I know what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm just going to put this one um, somewhere. Let's see, perspective, and there we go. So that is actually perfectly placed. So what I did here was I basically so I already know that the length here is 1000, and the width it's actually 20 units. So I have 20 units here and 20 units here. That will be 40, and that means that if I want to make a new block, which is going to be, basically it's going to fit perfect here. The only thing I need to do is from 1000 subtract 40, and that's basically it. You just assign the new value here, and that's how you actually get a perfect asset in here. Let's see. I'm just gonna Alt and drag this thing again. perspective. I can just go left at this time. No, wait, right. Okay, so yeah, it's actually perfectly placed on top. It's just gonna drag this. There we go. Seems to be perfectly placed. And in here, it's perfectly placed. Perspective. Okay, so now the only thing we are actually missing is the roof. But actually creating the roof is going to be a little bit different. But for now, I'm just gonna put. I'm not going, since I will not be going over that for now. I'm just going to click on the bottom part, and here we're going to have an interesting interaction. If you remember correctly, we actually locked uh, these box movements, which means we're not going to be able to drag it up. Oh, never mind. We actually can. So I'm just going to Control C, and I'm going to press Alt again and drag the arrow, and I'm going to place it there. And so we're basically done at this point. Everything seems to be perfectly placed. Let's see. Yep. So we're just going to go perspective, and so we already have our house. I mean the basic structure. Um, let's see. What else do we want at this point? What else do we want at this point? Okay, so now we need the door. So what we're going to do with the door is, what do we want to do with the door? Let's see. Okay, so that is the door frame, right? So what we can do here is the following thing. We can just get a new box. First of all, let's see. Okay. Yeah, this is actually perfectly fine. So, new box. So I'm just gonna place it somewhere around here. And this was, God, I don't remember how. Let's see. Let's see. How do I want to do this? So I'm just going to, first of all, let's just set the y-axis to maybe 20. That is what we have been working for, I guess. Right, 20. Yeah. So I actually need something like 30. Okay. So I'm just going to let's see. Okay, perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I'm just going to align it. Oh my god, this is actually looking great. So I'm just gonna play this a little bit really quick. I mean, so a door is usually a little bit higher than us, right? It's not that much. But still, I'm just going to set this to maybe 240. Let's see. Drag, press N, play. Let's see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is actually a good size. So what we're going to do for our door is we're gonna click on our new box, and we're going to look for this setting right here. We're gonna change it to subtractive, and now what we're going to do is we're going to start pushing the box, and as you can see, what what it's going to do is going to create our door. So if I hit play, let's see, if I hit play, now we have a door. And right now this doesn't look like anything to the picture, but we will be working on it, and I will be adding this rustic touch to it. So let's see. So we have the door. In here we can actually add, if we go browsing around, we have the starter content. Shapes, no, it's not actually shapes. I think it is props. Yeah, that we have a door frame, and we have a door. So we're going to use the door frame. Let's see, door frame, and we're just going to rotate this thing 90 degrees. And actually playing around with this is a little bit complicated, but still we're going to do it. Okay, so let's just let's see. So I actually need some light in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna type light. I think a point light will be fine. We can just place it right here, and in the settings we can just, you know, just add more intensity, and then now we can actually have an idea of what we're doing. So let's see. I'm just going to go into a top perspective here. I want to actually be able to see what I'm doing. Okay, so our door seems to be perfectly placed. So now the only problem is actually scaling this thing. Um, let's see, front view. If I try to rotate my door, let's see what happens. Seems like I actually got like the perfect scale there. Yeah, but in one of the axis. Okay, so let's try to fix this. Um, let's just go with 1.10. Let's see. I actually hate using this scaling system. Let's see, 1.50 maybe? No, it's still too much. 1.13. Yep, let's see. That is actually quite okay, I guess. Let's see, how does it... So there is actually going to be like a small gap. Let's see, perspective, but I don't think anyone is actually going to be able to spot it. That's actually okay. So I'm just gonna go and save this thing. And now, so we already have our door. What now? So we have a window right next to our door. And so basically this is what we're going to do. So a window should be, let's see, somewhere around, okay. So let's see, we can just place this, we can place the window in here. So what we're going to do is just select our subtractive brush and just adjust our values a little bit. Whoops, that is actually too small. 50, way too small. 1000, maybe 1000 by 1000, and I can actually set this to 40. No, wait, what am I doing? I do not actually have to change that. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's see. So if I go from the inside, let's see. Wow, that is actually perfect. Now we have a perfect window. Okay, so we can actually have this sort of a holding in here. Let's see if I can actually, let's see if we can actually add that touch, which I think I can. Let's see, we can just grab a new box. Let's see. I'm just gonna make I'm just gonna make a copy of this, and I'm just going to make this. Okay, now I'm just going to shrink this, and on the Y I can just go with 50. Top. Let's see, top. And what do we have here? If we go back into perspective, front view. Okay, whenever you get this situation that you're not gonna be able to drag your object into a certain position, the only thing you need to do is actually just change this from 10 to 5, and you should be fine. And then we can just change it back to 10. Perspective, play, and now we have that sort of look that we have here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just gonna place the frame. We have, where is it? Door frame, window frame. Again, just rotate this. Boom. Drag it up, drag it up, drag it up. Okay, so now we have to change from view and start shrinking this thing. Okay, so first change to 5, place. So in here we're gonna have a problem, it seems. So in this case we can just set this to 1. Let's see if we can actually get, there we go. Change it back to 10. Okay, so we got to scale this manually, it seems. Whoops. It's actually a mess. Let's see, 0.5. Um, perspective view. Okay, so what, 0.6? Let's see. 0.65? No, that is actually too much. 0.62. Actually hate doing this. Okay, so there we go. Now we gotta go with let's see. So I'm pretty sure this is going to be really bad, but whatever. Let's see what happens. 1.1. No, wait. So if I actually want to, let me see, front perspective. Yeah, actually this is to 1, and this is the one that it's supposed to be manipulating. I'm actually right. No, I think I'm. Hold on. So yeah. Let's see. So there's actually let's see, front view. If I try to enlarge this thing, I gotta go in the, okay, there we go, 1.05, and that is actually perfect. Top, and we're just going to align this thing a little bit. That is actually perfect. Perspective, we're just going to play, and it looks perfect. Okay, so that's already out of the way. So as you can see, you can make many things with geometry, and of course we're not done. I'm just going to hold on a second. So we can actually go and click, and change. Put this house assets. Okay. So do we need more windows? Let's see. We need, yeah, 2 windows and 1 more door. And I'm pretty sure we're gonna put 1 more window somewhere else. But we already, as you can see, we are already at 44 minutes, and I really do not want my videos to be that long, so I'm just gonna put a stop here for now, and on our next video I'm just gonna keep working on geometry, and I'm planning on finishing this house with all the details, so you can actually have a glimpse of the things you can do with geometry, and the amazingness of actually having geometry whenever you don't have like 3D modeling people in your team or whatever. So I'll be seeing you guys. Hope you watch this. Hope you enjoyed this video. And again, like I said, if you have any comments or any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section, or feel free to contact me. We will keep working on this project as we move along, and we will be adding more things to it. So I'll be seeing you around.